They blamed me for a deal I didn't touch. Humiliated me in front of my team. Fired me without warning, no investigation, no truth, just a scapegoat. But what they didn't know. I was the reason the firm had clients to begin with. So, I walked out with nothing. And came back with everything. This is the story of how betrayal built my empire. How I turned silence into strategy. And how the company that threw me out ended up begging me to buy them out. Watch until the last second, because sometimes, revenge isn't loud. It's profitable. I still remember the taste of the coffee that morning, bitter and burnt. I didn't have time to make a new one. The team call was in 5 minutes, and I had a pitch to lead. A pitch I'd spent 3 weeks preparing. A pitch that was supposed to land us a 7-figure account. And it did. Or so I thought. By noon, the client had called back. They were thrilled. They signed the LOI. Everyone on the floor clapped. I didn't even care about the credit. I just wanted to see us win. But that's where the cracks started to show. Later that week, I was called into a quick meeting with Marcus, our managing director. Hey, just a few things to run by you. Nothing serious. Famous last words. The door closed. HR was sitting there. So was a printed email thread, one I had never seen before. It showed internal documents sent to the client before they signed. Documents I never touched. Edits I never made. Mistakes I didn't commit. But my name was on the metadata. I laughed at first. I thought it was a joke, a mistake they'd correct once they looked into it. But Marcus didn't laugh. We need to talk about accountability. And then, we're letting you go, effective immediately. No hearing. No explanation. No defense. Just a box. A severance check. And a walk past people who didn't even look up. I felt hollow. The kind of hollow that doesn't scream, it buzzes. My phone vibrated nonstop with "I'm so sorry" texts. Some genuine. Most performative. No one asked for my side. No one cared that the documents were altered. No one cared that the deal only existed because of me. They just needed someone to blame. And I was convenient. That night, I sat on the floor of my apartment, the one I could no longer afford. I wasn't sad. I was furious. But anger without direction is just fire without oxygen. And I wasn't going to burn out. I was going to burn brighter. The worst part wasn't losing the job. It was losing my voice. No statement. No press release. Just silence, like I vanished overnight. And in my absence, the rumors filled the gap. One headline read: Exec let go after mishandling major client data. Another one? Rising star falls after costly error. And just like that, years of work were buried under one lie. I wanted to scream. To post the truth. To defend myself publicly. But every legal advisor said the same thing. Let it go. Don't stir the pot. Protect your future. What future? Friends stopped calling. Colleagues avoided eye contact in the grocery store. Even my own LinkedIn inbox went cold. Except for one message. It was from Ava, an old colleague who had since moved to a different agency. Her message said, "You didn't do it. I know you didn't. Word around town is. Someone set you up. Internal politics. Jealousy." I asked her for proof. She said she didn't have any, just whispers. But whispers were enough to spark something inside me. If I couldn't clear my name in public, I'd build something so strong in private that they'd choke on the silence. For the next few weeks, I disappeared. I stopped trying to defend myself. I deleted social apps. I read legal guides, startup stories, NDA loopholes, and corporate exit cases. I wrote notes. I planned. I remembered every client I brought in. Every relationship I nurtured. And every deal they took credit for. I didn't need that firm. They needed me. And I was about to remind them. Not with words. Not with lawsuits. With results. When you lose your reputation, you lose your currency. Not money, trust. And in business, trust is worth more than cash. I learned that the hard way. Recruiters who once begged me to jump ship now ghosted me. A firm that previously tried to poach me replied to my email with, "At this time, we're moving in a different direction. Sure you are. I sat in front of a blank resume, wondering if I should lie. Should I leave that job off? Should I create a fake freelance gap? I almost did. But then I realized. I'm not rebuilding to rejoin their system. I'm building something they could never control. I registered my own LLC. Small. Quiet. Unannounced. One laptop. One Gmail account. No investors. Just me and my will. I didn't even know what I'd call it yet. But I knew what it stood for. Built by truth. Fueled by betrayal. Still, I needed to earn back trust. And to do that, I had to risk everything. I went through my personal contacts list, 437 names. I categorized them. Hot leads, cold leads, clients worth risking, clients I should never touch. And I started with the ones I'd personally helped, the ones who owed their success to campaigns I'd run. I didn't beg. I didn't explain the drama. I just said. I'm on my own now. I have full control. You'll get 10x the attention you used to. Want to talk? Out of 47 messages I sent that week, only 2 replied. But one of them was worth $1 million. People think starting a business feels like freedom. In reality? It feels like insomnia. I wasn't sleeping. Not really eating. Just surviving on instant noodles and blind faith. Every win felt tiny. Every loss felt personal. And every time I opened my laptop, I felt like I was building a castle on sand, hoping it didn't collapse before sunrise. That first client, the $1 million one? They made me earn every cent. Daily check-ins. Scope creep. Last-minute demands. But I did it. Alone. No team. No assistant. Just me. Answering emails at 3 a.m. while the world slept. And still, I questioned everything. What if I am the problem? What if they were right? What if I fail again and there's no one left to blame? But then, one email changed everything. It was from a junior associate, someone still at my old firm. She wrote, I don't know how to say this. But we all know you didn't do it. The guy who framed you? He just got promoted. Attached was a screenshot. Proof. Finally. An internal Slack conversation. A message forwarded by accident. And a name, Ethan. He doctored the files. Blamed me. And used it to climb the ladder. I wasn't shocked. I was validated. But instead of going nuclear, I smiled. Because revenge is best served through growth. And I wasn't done growing. When you rebuild in silence, no one sees your power until it's too late. I didn't post on social media. Didn't announce my comeback. Didn't brag about the contract I just closed. I let my enemies believe I disappeared. And while they celebrated, I was stacking bricks. I upgraded. Hired a virtual assistant. Then a freelance graphic designer. Then a copywriter. Then a strategist. People I could trust. People who wanted to build, not play politics. I named the firm True North. Because after all the lies, I needed a compass. Something to point forward, always. Our first brand guide said. We don't steal. We don't sabotage. We just work harder. And we never forget. Clients started whispering. Referrals trickled in. People remembered my work, not the headlines. And then, the best message yet. Hey, are you still working with brands in fintech? We're unhappy with our current agency and might want to talk. I recognized the name. It was one of our oldest clients at the firm that fired me. I didn't gloat. Didn't push. I just said. I'd be happy to take the call. 1 week later, we signed a 6-month retainer. And just like that, the old firm lost one of their biggest clients, to the person they tried to erase. Sometimes, the loudest revolutions start with a whisper. The new client, fintech, old connections, didn't just bring money. They brought credibility. And credibility is contagious. Within a month, I got 3 more messages. All began the same way. Hey, just wondering if you're still freelancing. They weren't wondering. They were testing. Testing if I was safe. Testing if I still had that fire. Testing if I was still the guy they remembered, the guy who delivered. I didn't push. I just showed them results. In 2 months, True North helped the fintech brand grow 32% in lead conversions. We redesigned their landing pages, rewrote their email sequences, restructured their offer. The numbers didn't whisper. They screamed. One day, the head of marketing at that company messaged me. Out of curiosity. How did you get fired again? I laughed. Political hit job. He paused. Then said something I'll never forget. That tracks. They're struggling without you. Not officially, of course. But we all see it. More whispers. This time, from inside the old firm. A junior analyst messaged me anonymously. People here are nervous. You're the only thing our clients want to talk about. That's when I knew. It wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about momentum. I started interviewing full-time hires. Rented a tiny office space, 1 room, downtown, no windows. But it was mine. And every piece of furniture inside it? Bought with money they thought I'd never earn again. You never forget your first real win. Not the little freelance jobs. Not the modest contracts. I mean the one that makes your hands shake when the email lands. It was a Fortune 500 company. I had pitched them months ago, cold. No reply. Now? They reached out to me. Their CMO wrote. Heard some good things about your work lately. Wondering if you're open to discussing a short-term digital campaign. Translation? They noticed. The project was small by their standards, $60,000 over 2 months. But to me, it felt like validation in capital letters. We gave them the best pitch deck they'd ever seen. Clean. Direct. Custom. No fluff. No ego. Just strategy. And then we delivered the campaign. On time. Under budget. Over expectations. When the final report went out, it had a 44% center improvement. Site traffic up 120%. Conversion doubled. Their VP replied with 1 word. Damn. That 1 word did more for my self-esteem than any apology from the firm ever could. Because this time, my name wasn't buried in metadata. It was on the cover page. My team, now 5 people, took the day off after we wrapped. We had no real office yet, but we celebrated over takeout in my apartment. And for the first time in a long time. I felt proud. Not just of surviving. But of winning. Every empire looks unshakable. Until the cracks start to show. Rumors trickled back to me. The old firm was bleeding clients. 3 of their mid-tier accounts had walked. 1 was now with us. An anonymous DM from an old project manager read. It's chaos here. Senior leadership is in denial, but Ethan's numbers are crashing. Morale is dead. Everyone's walking on eggshells. Oh, Ethan. My replacement. The guy who framed me. The guy who got promoted. They say karma takes time. But I wasn't waiting. I was competing. And when you're growing in the shadows, their spotlight doesn't blind you anymore. Another client came knocking. Then another. We were 5 people handling the work of 15. But no one complained. We had something they didn't. Purpose. Then one day, I got the message. It wasn't a whisper. It was from the CEO of my old firm. Would you be open to lunch? I stared at it. Was it a trap? Was it bait? Or was it exactly what it looked like? Desperation. I replied with 1 line. I'll check my schedule. Not a yes. Not a no. Just power. Because the moment they sent that message, the game flipped. I showed up 10 minutes early. Not out of eagerness, out of control. They made me wait 30 minutes. And I let them. The CEO walked in like nothing had happened. Fake smile. Too firm handshake. Corporate cologne that couldn't mask the stench of fear. We exchanged pleasantries. He complimented my grit. Said he admired the way I bounced back. I let him talk. Because I already knew why we were here. Eventually, he dropped the act. Listen, I'll get to the point. We're restructuring. There's opportunity. We'd like to bring you back. As partner. I almost laughed. Partner? The same company that tossed me aside without a second thought. Now wanted me back, at the top? He slid an envelope across the table. Offer letter. 6 figures. Equity. Title. All the shiny things they thought I still cared about. I didn't even open it. I looked him in the eye and said, I don't need your seat at the table. I'm building the whole damn building. Then I stood up. Tell Ethan I said hi. I walked out into the sunlight. Feeling taller than any glass tower in that city. Not because I said no. But because they had to ask. I didn't burn the old building down. I just built one next door. And made it impossible to ignore. True North wasn't just surviving. It was thriving. We had a full-time team of 18. 3 departments. A downtown office with our logo on the wall and client awards in the lobby. We weren't chasing clients anymore. They were chasing us. The biggest full-circle moment? We landed a contract with a Fortune 100 company, the one the old firm had been trying to woo for 3 years. They chose us. Quietly. Confidently. Because reputation isn't built by noise. It's built by consistency. People started asking me to speak. Podcasts. Conferences. Panels. Tell us how you did it, they said. But I never told them the whole story. Because this wasn't a story about revenge. It was about resurrection. I didn't take their money. I didn't sabotage them back. I just worked. And I healed. Every signature, every deal, every win, stitched the wound they left behind. Now? When I walk past their building, I don't feel bitterness. I feel gratitude. They gave me something no salary ever could. A reason to rise.